I'm Akhilesh Shukla, Deputy News Editor, Economic Times B2B. And today we'll talk about one of the disruptive technologies, that is mobility. And our speaker of the day is Mr. Parag Deodhar, Chief Risk Officer, Vice President, Process Excellence and Program Management, Bharti AXA General Insurance. Welcome to the show, Parag.
Hi, Akhilesh. Thank you.
Yeah. So Parag will talk about BYOD, the opportunities and challenges associated with it, and he'll also share his own experience of implementing BYOD in his own organization. Over to you, Parag.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. So, as Akhilesh mentioned, I think we are going to talk about one of the most disruptive technologies which are there today, and but actually taking all the organizations by a storm. Reason being, primarily, it's competitive pressure. If you look at, the advertisements on television where bank accounts are being opened using tablets, I think the pressure is now on to all the other, peers to get onto mobility as soon as possible. And it's not just banks; it's all of the financial services. In case of manufacturing and in case of other industries also, the sales functions are looking at tablets and mobile devices. For all of the companies, getting access to email on mobile phones is also becoming equally important. And this pressure is catching on, and I think CIOs are under pressure to provide access to corporate data and email on mobile phones for all the employees. So what I have here today is a small presentation on mobility and is it really worth the risk? So let me share that presentation with you. And take you through this presentation shortly. If you look at the trends, it says that smart mobile devices are going to find their way to nearly 2/3 of the mobile workforce by 2015. Probably in some of the organizations, there's already gone to the 2/3 or more than 2/3 of the mobile workforce. Having to carry two different devices represents a clear opportunity for a better solution, for the CIOs and all the mobile users that they serve as well. It seems that mobility is one of the top priorities for most of the organizations, most of the enterprises, which are set to improve their financial investments in their mobile devices, applications, and services. So why are enterprises adopting mobility today? Is it really cost savings? And does it really give cost savings is the first question which I have. Second one is productivity concerns. Probably yes, I would agree to this much more than the cost savings part of it. Productivity surely increases, possibly in terms of giving access on the field. Employee requests and needs is this third reason why people are going for mobility. And as I said, the competition pressure which is there. Since your competitors or peers are doing it, you also need to do it. So where are we on mobility today? I think the three stages of mobility. The first stage is the basic stage where you just have an automated workforce where some basic applications are being made available on mobile devices or using BYOD. The second stage goes into always connected. So where you have unified communications, location-based services, and business intelligence on your mobile devices. You are connected all the time, and you're doing real-time communication and collaboration activities within the employees. The third stage, the last stage, is pervasive mobility, which means all business is being done almost on mobile. So you have mobile point of sale, social networking services, financial management system, HRMS, etc. Everything on mobile. So these are the three stages, and possibly many of the companies are currently at stage 1 and trying to move to stage 2 in this model. But to think of it, I think BYOD is also becoming a reality. Earlier, there was corporate devices. When we talked about mobile devices, it was only BlackBerry, which was all pervasive across organizations. Data access was, or corporate data access was only on BlackBerry. But as consumerization of IT has happened, everybody is owning a smart device. I think BYOD is becoming a reality. Globally, it says, this Gartner says that 88% of the executives report that employees are using their personal computing devices, personal devices for business use. Today, if you look at it, I'm sure you would have seen most of the employees do not communicate through SMS anymore. They are on WhatsApp, and a lot of business activities, business communication also happening on WhatsApp or other social media and other messaging services. So that is a reality today. Consumerization of IT, as I said, is driving new devices and access requests. When a person comes in with a new smartphone, he wants to access company information or his email on that smartphone. And organizations need to accept and address this reality. People do expect to work on multiple devices. So it's not just one smart device anymore, it's multiple smart devices. You have your laptops, you will have smartphones, you will have tablets, and whatnot. Probably wearable devices coming soon. And companies have to provide access to applications and data from any of these devices. So I think IT needs to change its mindset, and not just the mindset, but the process and tools to manage these devices, and obviously have security into consideration. So what happens when organizations provide access to data on all these devices, different devices? Well, some surveys have shown that many employees are using high-risk methods to store or move sensitive corporate data today. So you have all the Dropboxes and Box.net of the worlds where you have cloud storage. There's personal email being used for company email. Cloud storage devices like Google Drive, iCloud are there. Remote storage devices have been there traditionally, CDs, but now data is being stored on smartphones as well. And if you look at the reasons why company-provided tools are not used vis-a-vis using these tools, employees give various reasons, and one of them is primarily convenience. Since they are having mobile devices in their hands continuously, it's much easier for them to store data on those devices. And the excuses given are, the system provided by companies too complicated, takes too long, there are a lot of controls on it, it's not easy to share data, external partners have trouble accessing data, finally they were not trained to use the company systems. These are some of the excuses which have come up in the surveys. So what are the mobile computing risks which you're talking about here? So obviously, earlier laptops were being used. If the laptops are not encrypted, laptops getting lost and data getting lost was there. Bringing BYOD laptops into your network, that is going to bring in a lot of risks into your network. If you have devices, some devices like tabs and smartphones, they're company owned or their own devices. Own devices are generally shared devices. When people go home, those same devices which are used for storing company data are handed over to their children, possibly, or spouses or friends. And how are we going to secure that data on the device when it is handed over to various other people? So data segregation itself is a risk. Data leakage is a risk. On the other hand, there's personal data on the devices which the employees may not be willing to share. And if you have an MDM platform, they would be worried as to what the company is looking at on my device. There are a lot of unverified apps which could be installed, and we don't know what these apps are doing, and we can talk about this more later in the other slides. But most importantly, what happens if data is stored, corporate data is stored on these devices, and if these get lost or stolen, then what happens to that data? So let's look at another interesting slide here. And this was a project Honeystick, which was done by a security company again. And what they did was they actually lost 10 devices deliberately, and they were tracking what is happening on these devices. So when they tracked these devices, they were left at various public places in various cities in North America, and somebody found those devices, obviously. And when they found the devices, what did those people who found device do with those? They tried to access sensitive information on that device. So it included photos, social media, but passwords, HR salaries, remote admin apps, corporate email, even banking apps and HR cases. So people do try to pry into those devices and try to search what sensitive information they could find on those devices. So if a corporate device does get lost, be sure that somebody is going to try to get into those devices and try to find out what is there on those devices. And if you have confidential data on those devices, it is surely at risk. So what are the factors which impact mobile security? One is insecure web browsing, obviously, because on the same device which has corporate data, they're going to access various websites. We don't know which websites they are going to and whether those are malicious websites. Insecure Wi-Fi connectivity. These devices are going to be accessed from insecure Wi-Fi. Insecure Wi-Fi like airports or cafes, and who's snooping on those Wi-Fi networks, we don't know. Lost and stolen mobile devices, obviously, we discussed that earlier. Corrupt applications downloaded to the mobile device. So these could be malicious apps. Again, we don't know what data these apps are going to take out. So careless employees are considered a greater security risk than hackers. Finally, personal mobile devices are going to connect to corporate networks. You would have to give them access when it's a BYOD platform. You would have to give access to corporate networks. And this threat is going to grow if you do not have the right controls on the networks. These devices are going to bring in a lot of threats and a lot of risks into your network. This is one interesting thing. So today it is very easy to create a Wi-Fi at home or even in office, and people do have a lot of Wi-Fi modems with them. So have you ever checked in your organizations if some employee has actually brought in a Wi-Fi device, and plugged in the network patch cord into that device and created his own Wi-Fi network within your office? Because if he has done that, for his BYOD, because he doesn't want to connect his tab or his laptop to the office network, he prefers to have it on Wi-Fi. He has created his own Wi-Fi network in your office. I think it makes great sense to check out and do a scan if there are such rogue Wi-Fi networks in your offices. You would be surprised to see what you find. So when you're talking about mobility, what are the threats on mobile devices? One is the mobile malware, which spreads via popular websites. More and more smartphones and tablet owners are going to use these same devices on which they access corporate data to access these websites that many reputable sources have also been hacked and are spreading malware. Distribution via alternative app stores. There are a lot of alternative app stores are available on, especially for Android based devices and Android apps. And we don't know what kind of these malware are these apps proliferating. These are made to look like innocent games or utilities, but are actually having malware embedded in those apps. Botnets. Earlier, hackers were using PCs as bots, but now I think with the proliferation of mobile devices, they are also looking at the mobile devices rather than PCs, because it's much easier to use these mobile devices as as bots, because these are surely always connected, one, and the numbers are just increasing day by day, and people are not very careful with their mobile devices as compared to their PCs. So which are the mobiles which are being targeted most? I think if you look at the distribution of OS on mobiles, Android is by far the most popular and most affordable, and a lot of people today are using Android mobile phones. So obviously, the hackers are also targeting the widest target, which is Android, and Android devices seem to account for 60% of the infections observed in the mobile network today. Malware comes in forms of Trojanized apps and phishing spam campaigns during the victims to install the infected apps, or they just, if you look at the most popular, game today, it actually, if you go to the Android App Store, you will find 50 to 60 different versions of those apps, and not all are genuine apps. They are made to look like the genuine game app, but they are not genuine. They have been created by hackers and put it in the App Store, so you could download thinking it's a genuine app, but it is not really a genuine app, and you would install malware on your phone. So as I was saying earlier also, Android has the largest smartphone market share, so criminals also want to maximize their ROI, hence they are targeting Android. Common types of malware which seem to be proliferating are adware, information stealers, spy phones, SMS Trojans, banking Trojans, and fake security software. So you would have seen sometimes ad popping up on your Android smartphone saying, you have virus on your phone, download this antivirus software for your mobile phone. But many times that antivirus itself is a fake security software, which is going to take away, and send out data from your mobile phone. These are some of the recent newspaper articles on mobile bots. So there was the Zeus Trojan, which was there on PC. Now it has gone to Android phones. There are rogue downloads which are happening. Over 10 million compromised Android apps are there out in the market, and we don't know how many phones are infected today. So you would say that we have installed antivirus software on the mobile phones. We have got security on the applications and things like that. However, the hackers are one step ahead. The criminals are one step ahead. They have got new software which can fool the security software as well on the phone. So there are jailbreak jammers which fool the MDM agent. Which, if you have installed an MDM agent on for your organization, these jailbreak jammers actually fool the MDM agent into thinking that the device is not jailbroken or rooted, and you would let access to corporate data on that device. But then there could be no Trojans or malware on that device, which could steal the data. Remote access Trojans, again, MRATs for mobile. They gain high privilege access and can access all the communication that happens on the device. They can access all encrypted mails and secure highly confidential documents and send them to the command and control servers. These MRATs also can bypass actually container encryption, so which grab the information at the point where the user pulls up the data to read it, and when it gets decrypted for reading. At that point in time, the MRATs actually capture that data and send it back to the command and control servers. And then there are mobile device tunnel borers, which again, cannot be blocked by firewalls or IDS/IPS solutions because they are also encrypted, and they create a tunnel within the tunnel. So these are the latest security threats which are coming up for mobile devices. So when we look at the cost aspect of it, whether we are better off with the corporate devices or whether we are better off with BYOD. This is where I was talking about where I'm not really convinced about the cost aspect of it. For corporate-owned devices, obviously there's a cost of the device as well as management of the device. But at the same time, now there's high pressure to allow personal data on the corporate device. So it's corporate owned, but personally enabled, and that is where the risk of pirated software, images, videos, etc., on the corporate device comes in the picture. The employees do not get more choice when it's a corporate owned device. Generally, it's very few models or brands which are recommended. Whereas when we look at the BYOD, obviously the employees have convenience. It's their own device. They can have whichever device they want. However, does it really increase productivity? That's a debate, again, which we can get into. It is definitely lower cost to the company in terms of the device part of it, Management part, again, we need to look at it. That's again a debatable topic. At the same time, the employees are concerned about privacy of their own personal data on that device. So who's really accessing data? Is the corporate spying on their private data is the question there. So what are the tools which are there in the market today, which can help solve this BYOD or not to BYOD issue for organizations? There are various levels of software available. The basic is the MDM, which is the mobile device management. Then we have MIM, which is the mobile information management, and mobile application management, finally. There are pros and cons for each of them. Obviously, MDM is the most basic. However, MDM focuses on the device and tries to manage the device, which may not be of real help in a BYOD scenario. Mobile application management provides containerization, and policies are pushed only to the container, not to the entire phone. So for a BYOD, MAM seems to be a good solution. However, the con is that there's a loss of native apps and look and feel of what the user is typically accustomed to. Finally, mobile information management, which focuses purely on the data stored on the device. That again, you need to have proper security for that data, and security around the information is an unknown. Monitoring it becomes significantly difficult if you have only a MIM solution. So probably you need a combination of mobile device management, mobile application management, and mobile information management together, all three together, to what I call a mobile enterprise management solution for your company. Finally, what can you do? Some suggestions, recommendations from my side. One is make sure you're complying with the applicable laws and regulations for your industry, for the type of business you're in. Focus on data, not on the device. If you are getting into a BYOD scenario, you need to focus on data and not on the device. Policy, training, awareness, creating policies for this is important. At the same time, making employees aware and training them properly on using the data, corporate data on their personal devices is very important. Need to have an end user agreement in place. You need to have a list of allowed devices, so make sure you're not allowing jailbroken or rooted devices. Choose the right MDM, MAM, or MIM solution, or a combination of these. Look at other mobile security solutions as well. You will surely need to implement enhanced network security for mobile gateways, or if you're allowing personal devices to be connected to your corporate network. When you're developing applications for mobile, make sure they are using secure coding practices for the mobile device platforms as well. Do not ignore that. Limit the sensitive data transfer to the mobile, or consider giving only view-only access. Perform technical security assessments on mobile devices and also the supporting infrastructure. And establish a program that continually evaluates new and emerging threats in the mobile platforms. It is continuously evolving. New threats are coming every day. And make sure you audit the devices so that your data remains secure. So that was a short kind of presentation from my side, and some of the thoughts which I had, which I put forth. Akhilesh, over to you then.
Thanks, Parag. Thanks for the presentation. Parag, if you can share your journey also, like how you started MDM implementation, what were the challenges ahead, how was the entire implementation, and what the ROI you got. I'll really appreciate that.
Okay, so let me tackle the ROI issue first. Frankly, calculating the ROI is not so easy, and we are still struggling with the calculation of the ROI. But let me talk about the journey more in detail. We started almost 1.5 years ago, and we started evaluating various solutions available. But before evaluating the solutions, what we tried to do was to understand the requirement in the first place, and understanding the laws and regulations for the financial services companies, for the industry we are in, and understanding what is allowed, what is not allowed, looking at the regulations, even from our parent company, what they are doing. What we did was we did understanding a requirement gathering on what is required. Then we started looking at various solutions in place. The solutions which were available in market, frankly, at that point in time, 1.5 years ago, I was not really convinced that they were secure enough. And that's the reason why we took almost 1.5 years to come to a solution, finalize a solution. We looked at various models. As I said, there was a mobile device management solution, there was mobile application management solutions, and containerization solutions, etc. There were some good solutions which were there, but which were not cost effective. They were high cost solutions, so we could not go for them. It did not make sense. It wouldn't have given the ROI. The cheaper solutions were not secure enough, and our applications also were not ready at that point in time to be made available on mobile devices. So it took us almost a year and a half to identify the requirements, identify the right solutions, evaluate them. We did a thorough evaluation of 3 or 4 different solutions which we had shortlisted, and then we finally went on to one of the solutions, which gives a combination of an NPM plus containerization, and but also gives access to applications, mobile applications within that container, and that is what we have started to implement now. We have done a testing with about 50 users at present. Almost 50 users are on this platform, but we are treading cautiously. We are looking at, as I said, there are new risks, new threats every day, and that is something which we are pushing for help us over these threats. Right, Akhilesh?
Yeah, I think there's some connection problem. So Parag, 1.5, or you told me that 1.5 years it took to finalize the vendor. So again, finalizing a vendor is one challenge. So was the situation so challenging at that point of time, or still there are challenges in terms of getting the right vendor on board for MDM solutions?
I wouldn't say we have overcome all the challenges, and that's the reason why we are treading cautiously. We are testing with 50 users right now, and we are giving a limited access on mobile to only email and a few applications on the mobile at present. It is difficult because, as I said, new threats are emerging every day. There are new versions of the OS coming in. If you look at Android, if you look at Apple, they are releasing new versions, every few months. And whatever solution was prepared for or working for the earlier version of that OS may not work for the new version of the OS. There could be some loophole somewhere created because of the new versions of the OS. So that is the kind of challenge which you're facing. We have to be, continuously grappling with new challenges on a day-to-day basis.
And when do you plan to roll out the solution for the entire organization?
So over a period of the next 6 months, possibly we will be rolling it out, assuming that we have put in place all the controls what we wanted to, what we want to. Over the next 6 months, I think we will be rolling out this to the entire organization.
And in the test phase, did you face any problem?
Of course, there were challenges. There were challenges because the container was there were policies which need to be set on these containers. In the initial days, those policies were set, but then as the OS got upgraded, those policies did not work anymore, and we had to reset those controls, and things like that did happen. So these are the kind of challenges which we faced on the security front, and also getting these applications HTML5 compliant, etc. That also took some time.
So if I may ask, what was the one key learning that you have learned in the entire implementation process, be it test phase or be it when evaluating the entire product portfolio?
One key learning, I think there are quite a few learnings, but one key learning is,
You can
there
share all
is
those.
no one solution which really fits all. Even within the organization, different departments have different requirements. The security team has its own requirements from on the security front. So it is very difficult to find a solution which covers all the requirements. So you have to compromise somewhere, and at the same time, when you get probably the right solution, then the cost becomes an issue. So you really need to juggle the cost and benefit, and also all the requirements.
Parag, I think there's some problem with your video.
Is it okay now?
Hmm. I haven't got that. I think I'm not able to see you. I can only see your picture, but I can hear you clearly. So, anyways, Parag,
Yeah.
let's come back to the discussion again. I think we can sort it out. So, security is again one of the key challenges of BYOD is security. And before finalizing or going for a particular vendor, you need to be 100% sure that this is going to the your entire portfolio secured. And so, how to ensure that whatever the solution you are implementing is 100% secure, or there aren't any loophole?
See, there's frankly no such thing as 100% security. What we can do is look at the various threats and see what is the best solution available. And as I said, you need to live with some risks. As long as the basics are in place, and we are quite sure that there is no data leakage happening, and then there are some compensating controls which we can put in place. I think you will have to live with that. There is one can never be sure that it's 100% secure. And as I said,
So can you
as the OS is evolving, the security threats and challenges are also going to evolve, and new threats are going to come in. So you have to be continuously evaluating the controls, evaluating the solution, and keep upgrading it or keep putting in place some compensatory controls.
and can you share some of your learnings during the security checkup, or did you go for a third-party vendor to evaluate the security?
We did a detailed security check ourselves. Our team did the testing, but at the same time, yes, we also looked at various third-party reports which the vendor provided, the testing which they had done, and we got one of our consultants also to do testing on the solution to ensure that whatever the solution is claiming is correct, and it can really deliver the security what we require. So it was
And
almost a 3-level check.
what are the key things that one CIO or CSO should look for when they are shortlisting one of the and mobile device management vendor?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. Can you please repeat it?
Yeah, sure. So finalizing vendor is one of the key issues that I think every CIO or CSO faces in day-to-day life. And so, what are the key things when we talk about implementation of MDM solution? The first thing we look for in right MDM partner. So, what are the key things? What are the key criterias one should look for in his vendor actually?
So I think there are multiple criteria what we looked at. One is the solution itself. whether it fits in into our requirements and whether it provides all the kind of security requirements what we have. One is the security part of it. Second is the actual functionality part of it. Second is the vendor itself. What kind of background does the vendor have? How stable is the vendor? What has been the track record of the vendor, and what is the future plans for the vendor? What are the other projects the vendor is working on? When are the updates coming in? How soon? How frequently the patches come in, and they get updated? So all that. Obviously, and on the financial side, we look at which vendor is more cost effective. So these are some of the things which we looked at when evaluating the vendor.
Now, other than cost saving, because most of the people believe that MDM is a process to way to saving some money for the company. So, what are the other key benefits of BYOD, which is measurable? I would say.
I think the most important benefit is the productivity part of it, making corporate data available anywhere, anytime to our sales force on the field, to our management when they're traveling, to other employees when after office hours. I think that tremendously improves the productivity, for the company, makes it more convenient for the employee, and also for the customer. For customer servicing, for front-ending customer, Salesforce, our claims personnel. I think that is where the real benefit will come in once it is rolled out to all these people. So that to me is the most important benefit of BYOD or mobility.
During your implementation phase, in the testing phase, did you see some kind of traction happen towards better workforce, better work?
Yes, when we did the testing, I think our employees, especially which are on the field, were very excited with this tool and solution what we were offering them. Because if you look at our claim servicing, etc., when they go to the garages to do the survey of vehicles, they have to come back all the way to office and upload the photographs and upload the surveys, etc. But doing it on a tab, it becomes much more easy for them, much more convenient and much faster. At the same time, the customer also gets the service 10 times quicker. So they were really excited with this solution.
So the services overall improved by 10x.
In some cases, in some of the specific areas, yes.
So Parag, thank you very much for sharing your experience with ETCIO, ETCIO.com, and we love to hear more from you. Thank you, Parag.
Thank you very much, Akhilesh. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
Thanks.